Victor Santiago, Jr., best known by his stage names Noreaga and N.O.R.E, is an American hip-hop and reggaeton recording artist. Santiago first rose to prominence as one half of the East Coast hip-hop duo Capone-N-Noreaga, alongside fellow Queens-based rapper Capone. He would also have success as a solo artist with the singles Superthug, Banned from TV, Nothin, Oye Mi Canto, and Maiz, among several others. Santiago has released music under various record labels, including Penalty, Roc-La-Familia, Def Jam, and Babygrande Records. In June 2011, it was announced Santiago partnered with fellow American rapper Busta Rhymes Conglomerate label, where he released his 2013 album Student of the Game, issued under E1 Music. Santiago is also chief executive officer of his own imprint, Militainment Business. Music career. 1995 Euro 1997, career beginnings with Capone. Santiago's career began to take off in 1995, while under the pseudonym Noreaga, as part of the duo Capone-N-Noreaga, alongside friend and fellow Queens-based rapper Capone. They signed to Penalty Recordings in 1996, and released their debut album The War Report, in 1997. The War Report was a commercial and critical success which made the duo well known among hip-hop audiences. The album received praise for using the traditional boom-bap sound of classic New York City hip-hop, which at the time was falling out in favor of a more futuristic sound. The album peaked at number 21 on the Billboard 200, and the singles Illegal Life, Closer, and Tony all charted on the Hot R&B hip-hop singles and tracks chart. 1997 Euro 2000, solo career. Following the release of the album, Capone was again sentenced to a jail term, which left Noreaga to take on a solo career and make an album on his own. Noreaga's solo debut studio album N.O.R.E, was released in 1998. The title is an acronym for Niggas on Run Eatin'. The album became even more successful than the duo's debut, charting at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and being certified platinum by the Recording Industry Association of America. The album features guest appearances from fellow NYC rappers Nas, Kool G Rap, Big Pun and Busta Rhymes. It also features in many cases a different production style than The War Report, including the modern futuristic sound, with tracks produced by their up-and-coming producers The Neptunes and Swizz Beatz. The Neptunes produced the hit Superthug, which reached number 36 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the Hot Rap Tracks chart. The song, along with Maiz's hit Lookin' at Me, was one of the Neptunes' first high-profile productions and made them one of the most sought-after production teams in hip-hop. It also started their relationship with Noreaga as they would continue to produce more hits for him in the future. In 1999, Noreaga would go on to release his second solo album, Melvin Flint, Da Hustler, which was a moderate success, reaching the top 10 of the Billboard 200 and becoming certified gold by the RIAA. The album's most successful single was Oh No, which reached number 49 on the Hot R&B hip-hop singles and tracks chart. Capone was released from prison in 1999. The two subsequently began recording music together again and released their second CNN album in the year 2000. The album, titled The Reunion, was not well received critically and failed to match the commercial success of the duo's debut or Noreaga's solo albums. AllMusic reviewer Matt Conaway summed up the album by stating with The Reunion, Capone and Noreaga take a step backward. The group would then go on a hiatus and not release another album until 2009. 2001 Euro 2007, name change and reggaeton era. Noreaga continued to pursue his career as a solo artist. He officially changed his stage name to N.O.R.E, and after some delays, his third solo studio album God's Favorite, was released in 2002. The album peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and was later certified platinum. It contained the major hit Nothin, which reached number 10 on the Billboard Hot 100. It became N.O.R.E's highest charting hit. Following God's Favorite, N.O.R.E changed his musical focus. He began recording Spanish-language songs to reflect his Puerto Rican background and made reggaeton music. rather than traditional hip-hop. The reggaeton single Oye Mi Canto was released in 2004 and became a major hit, peaking at number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. The song was originally supposed to be a single from an upcoming album titled One Fan a Day, but the album was never released. Instead, N.O.R.E. released a reggaeton hip-hop album in 2006, titled N.O.R.E. Roc-La-Familia. Ya Ta Sabe, which included the lead singles Oye Mi Canto and Maiz. The album, released under Jay-Z's Roc-La-Familia, has both English and Spanish language tracks. It did not chart nearly as well as any of N.O.R.E.'s previous solo albums, as it only reached number 82 on the Billboard 200. N.O.R.E. went on to release 2 more solo albums. The first, his 5th album Noreaga, was released in 2007 and supported by the single Set It Off, featuring vocals and production from Swizz Beatz. N.O.R.E. released his CD-DVD, Noreaga, in September via a joint venture with his own thugged-out Militainment label and Babygrande Records. The album features guest appearances from Jadakiss, 3 6 Mafia, Kanye West, Pharrell, Mobb Deep's Prodigy, Bun B, True Life, David Banner, Curate and Capone. Swizz Beatz is among the producers. The DVD, which was available in limited quantities, is based on the rapper's life. The second album S.O.R.E. was controversially released in 2009. N.O.R.E. would go on to denounce S.O.R.E., calling it an album he had nothing to do with and asked fans not to purchase it. The album is a reference to his stage name and his first album, which is a backronym for Niggas on Run Eatin', which makes S.O.R.E. Still on Run Eatin'. The term was first used in late 2007, when N.O.R.E. released a song entitled Still on the Run Eatin', featuring Lil Wayne. N.O.R.E. said in a video blog that he didn't approve of this album. He also stated the album's artwork was of him at £310, adding he had lost £62 since then. He also went on to mention 5 songs on the album were actually handed in, while the rest were pulled off the internet, some of which coming from 2007, probably stemming from label financial issues. He later stated the official album he's working on is N.O.R.E. PT2, Born Again. 2009 Euro 2013, Conglomerate Militainment and Student of the Game. In 2009, N.O.R.E. collaborated with Capone once again, to release their third studio album Channel 10, which charted at number 136 on the Billboard 200. In 2010, a fourth Capone-N-Noreaga album titled The War Report 2, was released. Its lead single was Hood Pride, featuring Faith Evans. In June 2011, fellow American rapper Busta Rhymes, with whom N.O.R.E. has collaborated with several times in the past, stated on his Twitter account that he had officially signed N.O.R.E. to his newly founded record label Conglomerate Records. Between 2009 and 2011, N.O.R.E. teamed up with DJ EFN to host a satellite radio show for Sirius XM called Militainment Crazy Raw Radio, a title that gave equal weight to N.O.R.E.'s Militainment brand, to EFN's Crazy Hood, and to 66 Raw, the channel on Sirius XM which carried the show. In early 2013, Santiago stated that he would yet again change his moniker, this time to PAPI, which stirred mixed reactions from his fans. On April 16, 2013 he released Student of the Game, and shortly after announced a sequel would be released as his next album. 2013 Euro present, Melvin Flynn 2, Da Final Hustle on September 27, 2013, he told MTV that his next album, Melvin Flynn 2, Da Final Hustle will be his final album, as he will stop touring and releasing solo albums to become solely a music executive and CEO. Discography: N.O.R.E., Melvin Flynn 2 Euro Da Hustler, God's Favorite, N.O.R.E. La-Familia. Ya Ta Sabe, Noreaga, Student of the Game, Melvin Flynn 2, Da Final Hustle. References. External links, N.O.R.E. On Twitter, N.O.R.E. February 2010 UK radio interview.